Welcome back to another episode of Ballers, Beers, and Banter. I'm your host, Dave. Here with me, a patient man and a man who likes the finer things in life, Anthony and Moose.
Hello.
What's up?
Do you know who's who?
I'm for sure the patient man.
Yeah.
No. In this time that we're doing it, Anthony's the patient man because he waited on QB and tight end in our mock draft that we just completed. But you, Moose, went for the finer things. You had to have a good running back, a good wide receiver, a good quarterback, a good tight end. You wanted an elite, a best of the best, top of the line. You're not going for the sale rack. You were going for the expensive ones. You might be patient in real life.
The expensive rack.
Yeah. What's the expensive rack? There's the sale rack, and then there's the I don't know. What's an expensive store? I shop at Old Navy. Like I don't know. Ralph Lauren.
I don't think we have fancy taste, us three. I like the H&M, like 5 shirts for $20 type deal.
Shirts for $5. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Those Old Navy t-shirts for like $5 with like, they got like whatever superheroes in trendy. I got a Smokey the Bear one.
I'm going to say this
recently
to any of our listeners who wear polos. It doesn't get better than a Kirkland brand polo.
From Costco.
They're the best. I'm telling you, get yourself some Kirkland brand polos. You'll never look back.
Forget your Ralph Lauren.
You're really easing into the you really settled into the dad life, eh, Moose? You're doing yard work on weekends. You got Kirkland polos. Did you get yourself a pair of white New Balance?
Oh, here we go again.
Gross.
I don't think that's
super
a thing.
wide sneakers.
Dave.
Yeah.
The joke's dead.
It's not a good joke. It's hilarious. You got to get your dad's sneakers.
What you're skirting around. Really good advice. Kirkland polos are fantastic.
Okay, everybody, go get your Kirkland polos.
Dave,
guys,
anyone watching would think that you only have Habs jerseys.
Well, okay. Well, I got to wear the Canadian jersey. It works, and when I wear it on the podcast the day before the game, they win. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying about things in every life, though. Just wear a Kirkland polo. I'm not superstitious.
Not a sponsor.
Guys, I'm not superstitious. I am a little stitious.
Yeah.
So
you've also said that before.
Always office quotes on here. Love it. Guys, super excited for today's episode. We are doing our second mock draft review of the season. The guys were real hyped. Some of the same characters we had from last time. It's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to breaking down that action, and please stay tuned. We are going to have, Moose, can we confirm we're going to have on the YouTube, we'll have the draft board?
We can confirm it will be on our Twitter, it will be on our Instagram, and it will also show up for a minute and a half on the YouTube.
At the end or the beginning of the YouTube?
I don't know. I don't know what's best. At some point.
Could we put it in the middle, right when we start talking about drafting? That might be too complicated.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. Obviously, it'll show up at a relevant time.
Oh, great. I don't know. Magic. I don't know how to do this stuff.
I'm not just going to wildly put it
at the beginning when we're not doing the draft.
Moose, you do this stuff. It's magic to me. You're like, guys, the video's ready. It's rendered. I'm like, super.
Yeah. It'll show up. It'll obviously be. The only problem is you're best to look at it on Instagram and Twitter while you're listening to the podcast, because obviously once the minute and a half is up, you'll see our faces.
Yeah, then
again.
you can't refer back to it. Okay. So, and if you're looking to find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., it's 3B Fantasy Pod at all those things, including at gmail.com. Give us your feedback. If you didn't even like the mock, maybe you don't like who we picked, or our teams are horrible, please let us know.
Yeah, and on the YouTube, follow us, subscribe to us, smash that bell
on the
YouTube.
You sound like my mom.
We will
David, have you seen on the YouTube the thing about the gardening?
We will also be doing more mock drafts on the Sleeper, so you can add our podcast account on Sleeper, which is also a 3B Fantasy Pod, and we'll shoot out invites to future mock drafts.
Okay. All right, so stay tuned for that. But first, we got to get some headlines, guys.
Hold on. The biggest headline is, what was the gardening video about?
I'd made that up. That was a joke.
Man, you weren't going to wing it? You weren't even going to wing it?
It's something my mom would say.
I would have winged it. I would have winged it with something crazy.
Say the YouTube or the Facebook. She'll send me some things on the Facebook. But thank goodness Justin Timberlake told him to drop and just go with Facebook.
Yeah.
You guys didn't see the movie, The Social Network?
The Napster.
I did not.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah.
People who've seen it will get it.
So Justin Timberlake played the guy from
Sean, whatever, the guy who did Napster. So, anyways, can we get into headlines? We're way off base.
The headlines.
Napster? Yeah,
the headlines.
The headlines. All right, I'm going to lead off. Anthony's got his Allen Robinson, Roman numeral 2, jersey in the background. Big Chicago Bears fan. He'll be super psyched with my first headline, which is head coach Matt Nagy appearing on the Chris Collinsworth PFF podcast. And Chris Collinsworth asked him, is there any possible scenario where Justin Fields is your week 1 starter? And
can I say something real quick?
Always with the sarcasm off the bat.
Well, because I want to say what Matt Nagy said.
Okay, go ahead.
He said,
"You want me to ask the question? Should I ask it?
Yeah, you can ask the question."
Hey, Matt, I got to ask you: is there any possible scenario where Justin Fields is your week 1 starter?
He said, "No, Andy Dalton is the starting quarterback."
You didn't say it like Matt Nagy. You said it as you totally mixed
I'm just trying to get the in there. The was the joke.
You just wanted to do the.
Okay. Well, so he said he did say Andy Dalton is our starter, Justin is our number 2, and we are going to stick with this plan. You got to trust the plan. Anyways, apparently their plan is terrible.
I think it's a really good plan.
I mean, it sounds it sounds like the Chicago Bears making terrible quarterback plans. I still think they're playing the Detroit Lions. If memory serves, they're playing the Detroit Lions in week 3, and Justin Fields will start that game. He'll be starting by that game, I think, because they're playing the Rams week 1, right? Dalton's going to get torched. Aaron Donald's going to sack him.
This is not the worst plan.
You can always come up with worser plans.
Worser,
like cut Justin Fields, trade him, start Nick Foles.
But I think Justin Fields is more talented than Andy Dalton, but I don't think you want to just throw him in there. You let Dalton start. You let Fields, absorb some, some knowledge from the guys. And then, if things are really a tire fire, even then, I don't think you throw him in there. Kind of like we were talking about your boy Jalen Hurts last season. It's kind of like, he played well, but they threw him out there. Maybe having him out there now is not the right thing.
Or he was competing with the New Orleans Saints.
I don't know. I think with the Bears, they got to be careful. You want to. They ruin quarterbacks, or they're known to not have the greatest quarterbacks. If you're going to draft,
that's not even just with Chicago.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, I think tossing a rookie quarterback into the mix.
Oh, yeah.
That strategy. But so I think it's not. It's just people are reading too much into it because he's saying
But to say there's no chance. He said there's no chance.
People want hope that he will start, but if they're smart, that he should not start.
Yeah, I mean, I think for fantasy, obviously people are excited by a young quarterback, but for real football, I don't know why you would. If you already have a serviceable quarterback.
Yeah.
Yes, Andy Dalton he's not the most elite quarterback, but he's a serviceable quarterback that gives you time to develop your young investment. Yeah, so I don't know why you just throw your young investment out there. I mean, if you think that it's a good, like you said, the Rams are going to destroy Andy Dalton, I'm pretty sure they're going to destroy Justin Fields as well.
Yes, it's fair point.
So that's a great way to start your career with your team, is to be thrown in front of an epic defense. Aaron Darnold as well.
Yeah,
to just get destroyed. Yeah, great start to your career. So I think the Bears are making a smart choice in starting Dalton.
All right, fair enough. We're going to move on. We got a lot of headlines to get through here. Next one, staying with quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in a rematch of The Match, which is a golf tournament a one-off golf match that's going to pair Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson versus Aaron Rodgers and what's this other guy's? Bryson DeChambeau. Is that it? I'm not a golf guy.
I have no idea.
You guys? Okay. Last year it was Brady versus Peyton Manning. I think Brady was paired with Phil Mickelson, and Peyton Manning was with Tiger Woods. Of course, Tiger Woods coming off his accident. He's not recouped. Anyways, I think it's really cool. The point of the match is that they did a press conference, and Aaron Rodgers showed up in a shirt that said "I'm offended" with a little angry emoji on it. Initially, I was like, "Oh, he's offended at the joke Brady made on social media about them kicking the field goal instead of going for it." Yeah. But most people took it to assume he's offended by the Packers, the Packers and
His
their management
organization.
and the organization, and that he's not, getting whatever he wants. So the Rodgers drama continues, but that's it. No more on Rodgers.
What?
That's
You're not going to segue into the comment?
go ahead.
Well, do you have the quote in front of you? I don't want to misquote this.
I don't have the quote in front of me.
Okay, well, I'll paraphrase. But it came out that apparently Aaron Rodgers is very selfish. The players don't like him, and the coaches don't like working with him.
Oh, right. This was a tweet, right?
Yeah.
From who? I mean, you got to drum that up.
I don't. Well, yeah, but I sent it to you this morning. You said, okay, we'll save it for the podcast. So I thought you.
Yeah,
when you're bringing up
for the podcast.
I thought when you were talking about Aaron Rodgers, you were making note of it.
All right, here it is. It's from Dov Kleiman. Is it from a report though? I mean, it's from another GM, apparently. All right. So Dov Kleiman has a blue check next to his name. Got to be good. At NFL_Dov Kleiman. Packers Aaron Rodgers is selfish, disliked by teammates, coaches. Ex-NFL GM says via Matt Lombardo NFL. Wow. Matt Lombardo, a fan-sided, the ex-NFL GM. Wow. He said the guy's selfish. Teammates don't like him. Coaches don't like him. It's all about Aaron. They all deal with him because he's a superstar. He helps guys make money and put food on the table for their kids, and people respect him for that. Whoa. I mean, not surprising. We know he's a diva, right? We know that.
Yeah, but then it makes you question, Aaron Rodgers' comments. Everybody thinks that it's the Packers organization that is the bad guy.
Yeah.
But is it?
Well, I think most people know Aaron Rodgers is tough to get along with. Very difficult to get along with. But, everyone has their opinion. I don't know. Comment. Let us know. Who you on? You on Team Rodgers or Team Pack?
Neither.
Okay. Sticking with some quarterback. Anthony's going to crack up at everything today. Sticking with the quarterback, and we got a lot of hype. Of course, minicamp hype. Robby Anderson is hyping up his reunion. They're reunited, and it feels so good, Anthony.
And it feels so good.
Thank you.
Still haven't heard the song.
He's hyping up. I sent you the song,
and I didn't listen.
So
you should. Well, open things up. All right. So wide receiver Robby Anderson says there's something different with Sam Darnold in Carolina. When I walked in the building, I could see a new energy out of him, like a glow, charisma that I didn't really see in New York. I can definitely see the difference in him so far. So take it for what you will. We are maybe a little higher on Sam Darnold on this podcast than others. Still in the 1 QB league, still not recommending him, but we just want him to be good enough to make sure that DJ Moore, Robby Anderson, Christian McCaffrey do awesome.
I don't truly. I know I watched a lot of Buffy, but I don't truly believe in the supernatural. But my understanding is there's less ghosts in North Carolina.
Nice reference. When Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts out there, I like it. All right, sticking with quarterbacks, guys. Take this for what you will, but on the first day of minicamp in Miami, in the torrential rain, Tua Tagovailoa threw 5 interceptions during scrimmaging. I don't know. 5 seems like a lot, guys. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think we all know Moose's thoughts.
Yeah, obviously, and I want to when we're at the final point of this, I wanted to bring something up because, you know what? I'll save it for later. Don't worry. But no, yeah,
I'm not worried.
I'm worried. For me, obviously, this is fantasy football. If you've played many years, players have burned you in the past, blah blah blah. And for me, I want nothing to do with Miami. I've had bad history with Miami. I don't want anything to do with them. And these kinds of reports drive me even further away. Yeah.
And I just want to make something clear too. When we've talked about Tua in the past, and then I said that I'm not a fan, I don't believe in his passing ability. I'm not just watching 2 games and assessing like, those 2 games, he's a terrible thrower. He's never going to be a great quarterback. I watch a lot of football. You guys watch a lot of football.
Every game, essentially, if you're watching Red Zone, I mean, you're catching everything.
So like Tua, from what I see talent wise, I think he's going to be along the lines of these quarterbacks like, I don't know, let's say Marcus Mariota, who, will probably have a couple good seasons, decent seasons, not what you expect, and then just fall off. And then, Miami's drafting another quarterback. I think what will keep him as their starter for maybe a little longer than maybe Marcus Mariota in Tennessee is the fact that the rest of the team is like their defense is fantastic. The run game should be good. So I think
although Xavier Howard may be holding out, their star cornerback, potentially the best cornerback in the league, is
arguably.
Guys, listen,
Dave.
Yeah,
we're listening.
Okay, so I'm kind of on board with Anthony. Like there's a track record of Alabama quarterbacks who look amazing on Alabama because they have an NFL roster to support them against mainly non-NFL quality opponents, and then they get to the NFL and they're shell-shocked, and it just doesn't work well. And then these 5 interceptions on the first day of minicamp, I'm like, listen, maybe he's trying stuff out. Maybe he was throwing. Maybe he told himself, I'm going to throw it no matter what, just to see what happens. It's practice. It's okay to make mistakes at practice. You want to make mistakes at practice and learn from them. You want to try things out, experiment. If this happens on the last day of regular training camp or in a preseason game in the one half he plays, then I'd be more concerned. But right now it's minicamp. I'm not worried.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So. All right, moving on. Bill Belichick is hyping up Damien Harris. His one of his many running backs that are on his team. He pumped him up and said, I don't know if you guys saw this headline, but he said he can do a lot of things for us, and he's pretty excited about him. Did you guys see that?
I did.
Thoughts on that?
Don't trust anything.
Right, but the way Belichick said it too, Damien works really hard. He just tries to do whatever he can to help the team. Just because I know Belichick so much, because we've seen them win so much. Saying that he works hard doesn't mean he's going to be the guy. We know New England for not having a guy.
That's it. It's whoever matches up best that week, and You're not going to know. You're not going to know until that week starts what their game plan is.
Yeah,
it's bonkers. I mean, they've got James White still there. The rookie's still there. That's supposed to have also high prospects. Plus the myriad of wide receivers they just added. Yeah, the Patriots is not a team you want to be drafting players from this fantasy season.
But just to mention, we do know he's very talented, but don't be deceived by Belichick talking about him and saying he's the number one guy. He's talented. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that they take the hot hand or best matchup, and that's why he's not a good fantasy.
And yes,
running back for your team.
The Patriots always mix it up in the red zone. They're very creative. So a lot of different guys get looks in the red zone. Damien Harris last year needed 100 yards to have a good game because he doesn't get those red zone looks and he doesn't get passes. He doesn't get a lot of receptions. If you're in a standard league, Damien Harris is go for him. And again, he's a good player to have maybe on your bench as a backup running back because he's pretty safe floor. He's going to get a lot of touches, a lot of work. But he's not great for PPR and doesn't get a lot of those touchdown bonuses. But he's very good.
Hold on, real quick, just because this is.
Go ahead.
So I started thinking about it. So
I'm glad that you're thinking.
Damian Harris, Sonny Michel, James White, JJ Taylor, and the rookie
Rahamondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
If that's how you say it, I apologize for that.
We know Sonny Michel's good for 3 games of
plus Cam Newton.
Plus 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, plus Cam Newton.
Plus running back Cam Newton.
You do not want anything to do with that backfield this year.
Yeah. Fair enough. Guys, Travis Etienne stands out as a pass catcher. He looks like the #Jaguars slash player, a skill player who will be asked to make plays both out of the backfield and split out wide. Nothing we didn't already know. We go listen to our rookie reviews episode. And when we reviewed Travis Etienne and Javonte Williams and Michael Carter and Najee Harris. Go check those guys out.
Throughout the season, can the three of us choose a different way to say his last name?
Etienne?
Yeah. Because
besides the right way?
Because tons of people call him Etienne.
Etienne? Well, we should find out how he likes it to be pronounced because we're pronouncing it the French way because we have some experience with that. Les habitants de Montréal.
Yeah, but his name might not be French. That's
exactly. So we should probably look into that. It's an Anthony project since he's the name guy. Hey guys, if I was to tell you I got to go clean up, what would you think? Sorry guys, I got to go clean up. I got to go get some cleanup. What would you think?
You got to go get some cleanup?
Yeah,
I've never heard
or
it said
get
like
something
that
cleaned up. I got to get something cleaned up. What would you think?
I don't know. Maybe you're cleaning your kitchen.
Yeah, clean your kitchen, maybe like 10 minutes, easy,
Or
something easy.
Sometimes people call coiffing their hair, brushing their beard.
Yes, getting cleaned up. Well, it always amuses me, or I always find it interesting that they also use it in this way, and that is that Pete Carroll said Rashaad Penny is not practicing right now because he had a surgery on his knee to get something cleaned up. And this is from Bob Condata of the Seattle Times.
That's pretty standard surgery talk, though, too.
I know, but like I'm just imagining, what did the surgeon do the first time? Or, oh, yeah, I left it a little messy in there. Let me get back in there and clean things up. Like 10 minutes, quick.
No, but was it to clean up a previous surgery or just to have?
Well, he's had knee surgery before. Yeah. Right, he's had tons of knee issues. So
sometimes it's because there's like bits of floating bone or something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not good.
They go and clean it up. Good.
So Rashaad Penny to me was highly touted coming out of the draft. Right, he was drafted higher than Chris Carson for the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, and a lot of people hype him up every year, and this year especially because Chris Carson's the main guy. There's not a lot of other running backs. No Carlos Hyde. And we know Chris Carson gets hurt, so Rashaad Penny could be a starting running back for a great rush team in Seattle.
Doesn't get hurt as much as Rashaad Penny.
But I don't know. I just don't think I can pull the trigger.
I think in my dynasty league,
DJ Dallas and Travis Homer.
Yeah, I think if you draft Rashaad Penny, you're gonna be cleaning things up on your roster.
Yeah, so I have him in our dynasty league, and I mean, I took him a couple of years ago, hoping that at some point he'd get back on the field healthy. I was hoping that it was gonna be this year, but nope. So
he pulled the Eddie Lacy coming into the league, and then has just been one injury after another.
Anyways, I hope for the best for him. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Marissa Contepelli who is a team reporter for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Say that 5 times fast.
Marissa Contepelli, Italian. No problem.
One time.
I thought you were going to say it 5 times.
Oh no, no, come on. But I could if I needed to.
Well, let's try.
No, she says, according to Marissa, Joe Burrow said you can see a big difference in T. Higgins this spring. T has worked on reshaping his body this offseason, getting stronger and losing a little weight. Stronger and losing weight. We have some horses on offense that I'm real excited about. T's going to have a big year. Joe, you heard it from Joe Burrow first. T. Higgins going to have a big year. I like him. Do you guys like him as the Bengals' number 1 wide receiver over Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase? Okay.
Yep.
I think so. It takes a while for rookies. Jamar Chase might be the most talented, but it takes a while for rookies to get in. So redraft, T. Higgins, fire away. Actually, I took him on the mock draft tonight, so look at me.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Sorry. All right, guys. Jonnu Smith has a hamstring injury. So that is both Jonnu and Hunter Henry, if you're keeping track, have both had an injury so far in camp.
Classic.
Yeah, not good. I'm steering clear of both of them, unless one of them's out for the year.
They're on the Patriots, right?
They are on the Patriots.
Yeah, don't draft anyone from the Patriots.
That's another thing.
That includes tight ends.
All right, almost on headlines. The New York Jets want Jamison Crowder to take a 50% pay cut, which I feel like is them saying, hey, Jamison Crowder, we want you off the team. Which is not much of a headline, except that to me it bodes well for, believe it or not, Corey Davis, we know. I think Elijah Moore, who, the reports are he's a touchdown machine. He's amazing in the red zone. And then potentially Keelan Cole as a deep sleeper who he's right up your alley, Moose. So, like, these guys that are often forget about. He's got a Dante Pettis feel to him, eh, Moose?
No, he doesn't.
You don't like Keelan Cole?
No.
Apparently he's really impressing. He's been running with the first team.
That's what he does. He did it in Jacksonville. I think he did it. He tried to do it with the Patriots, and now he's with the Jets.
All right. I'm just reporting
his
the news.
face.
I'm just reporting the news.
Now he's
no. He's earlier. We were talking about the fantasy football season started when you start hearing Mike Williams hype.
Yeah.
Keelan Cole's in that boat too. It's just hype.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. It's all hype. James Crowder will probably end up the starting wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, though. So that's the good news for him. All right, last headline that I have, unless you guys have anything to add, is that according to Fantasy Sports Radio, Javonte Williams will be a day 1 starter. Booyah! I mean, well, that's what we expect.
Yeah. There's also a potential Melvin Gordon suspension that's looming. So yes,
DUI?
he could also easily be the week 1 starter just for that reason.
Yeah. The whole thing is, let's see. I think he's the week 1 starter, O'Halloran suggested. You do not trade up in the second round for that position without having him earmarked to be your main guy. Melvin Gordon has been a complete no-show during OTAs. If they thought he was still the starter, I believe he would have made an appearance or 2.
Thanks, Melvin. Thanks.
Denver obviously leaped the pack for Williams on day 2, trading pick number 40 and a 4th, blah, 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 blah. And Ryan O'Halloran is working for the Denver Post.
He was a top 10 running back. You can't shake a stick at that.
You can't shake a stick at that.
So that's
right.
But I think I agree too. I think this will be he'll fizzle a bit, and
he's
young
fizzled already.
Young talent will rise to the top.
Running backs got to go young with running backs. Youth kills. Anthony, you have anything to add as the Melvin Gordon owner?
Melvin Gordon trade in the dynasty a little useless.
Embarrassing.
What was that again? Basically, Melvin Gordon for Cam Akers. Yeah.
Well, Cam Akers wouldn't have helped me last year. Actually, Melvin Gordon, where he finished, did help me.
Did help you last year. You were the reigning dynasty champion, so you're in it to win it now, and that's fair. And that's fair.
Well, I have a lot of youth as well. This was a heated debate between Moose and I. I have 3 great draft picks this coming year.
Awesome.
4th
pick. Save it for our dynasty podcast.
2nd and 4th.
We'll inevitably start
in the 2nd.
That's cool.
I'm coming back.
It's a great story.
I'm going to win again this year.
Okay.
Win again this year.
Yeah, probably not. But all right. Are we done with headlines?
Well, we know Dave's not going to win one. No.
Should we take a dynasty beer bet, Anthony? Whichever
this whole little failed segue into the next segment has gotten very heated.
Well, beer bet.
No,
dynasty.
It's less heated than
we worked our way right up to a beer bet. I feel like beer bet is the height of heat. When things boil to a beer bet, that's
I mean, think about it. Dynasty team is like our baby. Like this is our team for forever.
What's the beer bet here?
Just so Anthony doesn't have to chug like 14 beers in one day
here
again.
We go.
Should we do something?
You mean out of my trophy that I win?
Yeah. Can we do something where if you can opt out of chugging a beer if you lose the beer bet, but
if
then the other person,
like you're trying to make rules so that you can opt out. The other
person, you guys, I crushed the beer bets. The other person can challenge you to do something. You have to do something ridiculous. That also
what's the beer bet
social media?
I'm not gonna.
Whoever's dynasty team finishes higher wins.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna win this, so I take that,
including playoffs, right?
Well, you're not gonna make playoffs, so.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Can we get into the mock draft?
Stamp it in the sand.
Stamp it in the sand.
We can.
The mock draft. All right. Very excited to get into this mock draft. We had some of our usual suspects. Thank you to all those who participated tonight. It was a half PPR mock draft with 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, a tight end, no kicker, no defense, 6 bench positions, which is 6 a lot for the limited roster. We had the comment that 6 is a very deep bench.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we have 5 in one of our leagues. Yeah, 5 or 6.
I mean,
I think 6 is. I think 5 became the standard, but 6 was the average in Yahoo back in the day. I don't know if that's the average now.
I don't know.
I think sleeper, the average is, I think the normal amount is
standard's 5. Yeah. Okay. So 1 deeper. It all depends what you're going for. I think if you're well prepared, if you've been listening to our podcast in the offseason and you're well prepared for your draft, I think the deeper the draft, the better.
Well, plus you removed 2 positions.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I removed kicker and defense. So, all right. So thank you to our participants who were myself and Anthony, and then Moose drafting from our 3B Fantasy Pod account. And then we had Sanchi, Megatron 18, Eepst, still, we got to get Eepst's real name. The Mike, Fantasy Football, FFB, who may have queued his players. Someone mentioned he may have queued his players, but it was either that or he was on auto. So he's just out of the running, I think, for best team.
Yeah.
We had Sinker DFS, as always, Big Lou 3223. Gus Bus 24, our fearless leader who starts all the mock drafts and started our To the Moon League. He was in there. T Steppen, who I think is friends with Sinker DFS, and we had Vish, who I found out we're practically neighbors. Vish 13 S, we're practically neighbors, me and him. So thanks, guys, for coming up.
I also spoke with Eepst. I have his name. It's pretty long. It's multi hyphenated.
Oh, okay.
It's Eric, Paul, Steven Tyler.
Are you serious?
Are you serious? Do you think I'm serious? Eric, Paul, Steven Tyler?
Why are we... Eric, you couldn't come up with something better?
That's why it's funny.
Whose name would be Eric Evans?
Like, I may mess up names,
Paul, Steven,
but
Tyler.
that one was
Eric, Paul, Steven Tyler.
Come on, Dave.
Well, you had me at the beginning. You're like, I thought you were on, because I arrived late coming back from work. Thought you were talking to him in the chat or something. I missed it. Eric.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm calling him Eric from now on. That's hilarious.
Eric, Paul, Steven Tyler.
All right, guys. So
by this
point, everyone who's listening should drum up the draft board either in the comment section of YouTube or on our Instagram or Twitter, 3B Fantasy Pod, and have a look-see as we go through it. And I would like to hear from you guys first. Who gets your best team award? And tell us why.
I'll go first.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Big Lou 3223. His team is very interesting to me because, one, he did the 2 RB,
the classic
RBs in the first 2 rounds. Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 2 sophomores. Jonathan Taylor, we know, is going to get the workload. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looking to take a step up in that crazy high-powered offense. And then he went 4 wide receivers: Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, and Chase Claypool. So Allen Robinson, elite. Doesn't matter what quarterback's throwing to him, going to produce for your team. Chris Godwin hopefully stays healthy this season with Brady throwing to him on another high-powered offense. Should take a step above Evans this year. Evans is still the touchdown guy, but I think Godwin will have the yards, and you'll have like 8 touchdowns. I think that's over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. That's a pretty good season, especially for Godwin, Chris Godwin.
Definitely in the cards. Definitely in the wheelhouse.
And then Ayuk and Claypool, 2 more sophomores. Ayuk, if Debo has health issues again, Ayuk is a very good pick. Claypool, touchdown machine. Pittsburgh, up and coming. I mean, can't go wrong there.
Scored 10 tutties.
10 tutties.
10
and
tutties.
I'm interested. I'm all about stacking running backs because that is the most important position. He, like I said, he went 2 running backs, drafted 4 receivers, but the 3 running backs that he took next, Michael Carter, AJ Dillon, and Tony Pollard. Huge upside with these guys. Michael Carter, most likely the number 1 guy there. Great third option that late in the draft. That was in the 7th round.
Starter in the 7th round.
Starter in the 7th round. AJ Dillon, we saw Jamal Williams do well behind Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon is a monster of a man. Could be a touchdown guy, a red zone guy, so very beneficial to your team. And then Tony Pollard with for you guys that believe that Ezekiel Elliott is already on his way out. Tony Pollard is a great option for if things go south with him.
So Anthony, you don't think that, like, there's a lot of question marks on those 3 players in terms of playing time, like, and those are his backups. So should Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire unfortunately not be able to play,
right, then he's going to have issues.
You're kind of in a pinch.
Exactly.
Anyone who loses their top 2 running backs would be in a pinch.
Right.
Well, yeah, but not that's why. But this is a worse pinch because these guys might not even play.
Right. So he essentially has 3, but if he has an injury, that's where things get messy, which is why we say draft your running backs early, because it gets real thin later in the draft. But I feel, looking at some of the other teams beside myself, to me, he made the better late round running back picks. Michael Carter, like we said, rookie. Yes, it's the Jets, but he's a starter. AJ Dillon could be a flex option week to week, but if Aaron Jones has an injury, good. Tony Pollard, we've seen him be productive when Ezekiel Elliott is not performing. So yeah, it's very risky backups for his running backs. If there's no injuries, he could be in the clear. And then he is following the same strategy that I was following, late round picks on QB and tight end. He went Tom Brady, solid, very standard. You're going to get what you're going to get from Brady. Nothing crazy, but nothing poor. But he kind of like threw a flyer out at his tight end on Troutman in New Orleans, who is the lead guy there now, unless he's splitting time with our famous friend Taysom Hill. But
tight end, yeah.
But I think,
I would say as it stands, Taysom Hill is the starting tight end.
right. So
Yeah, we'll see.
some guys that went in the last round, well, maybe one in the last round, Cole Kmet, I would prefer over Troutman, but I think
what
Big
surprise!
I think
Chicago Bears
Big
fan.
Lou 3-2-2-3 strategy is that I'm gonna go grab a tight end here, and then I'm going to stream them the rest of the year. So that's why he kind of took a flyer, because with him, Cole Kmet, Ingram, you know, Jimmy Graham is still on the Bears, and he played pretty well last year.
Jimmy Graham, he is? He didn't retire?
Yeah. Nope, he's still on the Bears. So I mean, everybody expects Kmet to take a step up, but yeah. So I mean, I love his team, but very risky at the running back position if things don't go well with like injuries, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, there's always injuries at running back, but I don't know. I think he's okay. I do agree. For how hard I've been fading Zeke, I should start drafting Tony Pollard more, and I should start thinking about that, because I mean, if one's going to happen, you know, if A equals B equals C. The Troutman pick, you're right, but like we'll get into that strategy when we talk about late QB and tight end. Like at that point, you know, once you miss out on the top guys, it's like whatever, and he's as good a sleeper as any. He could end up being very good, because there's not many people to pass the ball to. All right, great analysis. I really like Elijah Moore and Paris Campbell as well.
Yeah, those were the other two picks I didn't mention. Elijah Moore killing it at Jets camp.
Sleepers.
I really like Paris Campbell as a flyer.
He could be the top. He could
Yeah,
be the top
you
guy.
two are high on him.
And actually, like for where we'll get into it later, but for where I picked Pittman, I picked Michael Pittman, who I think will be the wide receiver one on the Colts at round 10. But Paris Campbell in the last round, if you can get Paris Campbell in the last round, you're laughing.
They're both going to be great.
Yeah. Both. So you got to be high on Carson Wentz then. You think two wide receivers are going to be great?
Well, I mean, Carson Wentz was able to feed multiple wide receivers in Philly. He's going to be able to do it in Indianapolis.
And multiple DBs. All right, just joshing. All right, Anthony, great breakdown. So Anthony gives his favorite team, top team, to Big Lou. Way to go, Big Lou. He's cheering at home, I'm sure. Moose, who's your top team?
My top team, well, I got to mention it, I think was Anthony's team. But we're picking somebody else's team. So I think I picked Sinker DFS last time, and I'm picking him again.
Oh, all right. Yeah, you guys see eye to eye.
I guess.
You're in sync. Or
yes. In Sinker
I'm surprised.
DFS. Yeah, well, no, because look, he's got Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott's gonna be good. I mean, there is a chance that he fizzles, and you know, I would maybe prefer another running back, but still, it's Zeke. He's probably gonna do good. DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas. I mean, Michael Thomas in the third to me is fantastic, and he's gonna do well. This is where it dips a little bit. I'm not very high on Miles Sanders. He is a starting running back though, and you know he's going to get you a good amount of points. Mike Davis, you know, should be pretty good in Atlanta. Justin Herbert, great. I was very high on Justin Herbert last season. Nothing's changed. If anything, he has a wide receiver core now that's more developed outside of Keenan Allen. So I think you know he's poised to have another very successful season. DJ Chark, we spoke about last week, put on 7 to 9 pounds of muscle. He's looking bigger. You know, they want to get him out there catching balls. Logan Thomas, not terrible. He's not my favorite tight end. He's kind of old. He's going to be 30.
Logan Thomas is 30?
Yeah, Logan Thomas is going to be 30.
Man, these late tight end breakouts. Okay.
But this is it. And we said it takes a while for tight ends to break out, which is why obviously Kyle Pitts looks amazing, but you know, in general, it takes tight ends a little while for whatever reason to break out at the tight end position. So anyways, Logan Thomas, if things go as well as they did last year for him, he should be very serviceable. However, one would assume that he's going to be getting less, check downs, and who knows what Fitzmagic has in store for him. And then the next two here, Kenyon Drake, the assumption is he'll split the backfield. People are so worried about Josh Jacobs that you could easily make the assumption that Kenyon Drake will get more than a 50% share in terms of how people are worried about Josh Jacobs. Alexander Mattison, always a great handcuff to Dalvin Cook. Russell Gage, this late to me is also incredible. He's going to be he's a steal. He's going to be number 2 in Atlanta. Yeah. he was fantastic when he was the number 2 while Julio Jones was injured. So why should that change? Fantastic late round wide receiver. Then, of course, my boy Gabe Davis, who this season is still to be determined on how he'll be used.
How many touchdowns did he have called back, Liz?
He had 4 touchdowns called back. 7. He scored 7, had 4 called back, which would
have been a double. He could have been a double tutty guy.
You know who else scored 11?
Tutty.
You know who else scored 11 touchdowns?
Who?
Devontae Adams. Just saying.
Yep.
So who knows?
Quite the comparison to Java, yeah.
Well, just saying they both. All I said was they both
double
scored
digit tutties.
touchdowns.
Double digit tutties.
How he'll be used is yet to be determined because they obviously brought Emmanuel Sanders in. We always talk about Cole Beasley. Here's a little headline. He has been tweeting the wildest takes about the vaccine. You know, whatever your opinion is about it, kind of keep it yourself thing. But he was wild on Twitter today about not getting vaccinated. And
Cole
then,
Beasley? Really?
Cole Beasley.
Okay.
Oh, and he called out the NFLPA. He said the NFLPA was a joke. Because of the whole vaccine regulations. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, probably the best flyer out there because he should be.
I mean, is it a flyer when you're definitely the best receiver on your team?
Well, we don't know. It's Detroit. They might be like, you're really talented, but what we're going to do is just get some old guy who's not as good as you, and we're going to play him all season until maybe like the last couple of games. Then we'll sprinkle you in and we'll be like, see how good he is?
I don't know. He's going to be on the field. Jared Goff's going to be like under pressure and be like, I'm just throwing it up. Hope that Egyptian sun god's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he's named after Egyptian sun god.
Yeah. You got to worry, though, bringing up the Jared Goff thing, because Jared Goff had very talented wide receivers, in LA, and he struggled. So you hope that he can work it out with a rookie. But I mean, even if Amon-Ra St. Brown is the starter, I mean, that he's a late round flyer at best. That's it. I wouldn't go any higher than that.
Exactly where Sinker got him. Sweet. Well, that was a great breakdown, Moose. And I can see why you're liking Sinker's team. It is excellent. You were completely wrong about Logan Thomas's age, by the way. He's 29.
So how old will he be this year?
30. I know. I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
He's 30. He might.
That's
even
what I said.
I
said he'll be 30 this year.
Yeah. Oh, then you nailed it.
I know.
Bang on.
I know.
I like Sinker's team. I looked at, I think I saw Miles Sanders and I was like, ew. And I just like immediately was like, well, this can't be it.
That's it.
Because not high on Miles Sanders. Get your Kenny Gainwell stock in while you can. I'm awarding my best team, my fave team, to Megatron 18. I think someone in the chat, but as we were leaving, also might have been Gus Bus, said he really likes Megatron's team. Listen, when we're evaluating these teams,
we're listening.
Thank you. Now apparently I say that a lot. All right, that's good to know. I'm looking at, okay, let's look at running back depth. So running backs. His top 2 running backs are Dalvin Cook and Josh Jacobs, who he got in the 1st and 4th rounds. I would take those 2. I think they're as good or better than anyone's top 2 running backs in this draft.
Are you crazy?
Dalvin Cook and Josh Jacobs? Yeah. Am I crazy? Who's better? I said as good or better.
I was maybe Cam Akers, Najee Harris, Kamara Gibson.
Both very good, but Akers, there's a lot of
I think
upside there. Najee Harris is a rookie.
Well, I think what Dave also is meaning to say with this is that Jacobs went in the 4th round. Jacobs, like I was mentioning pre-podcast, is better than Sanders and Montgomery. Well, his situation is better than Sanders, Montgomery, and even Carson and Swift, who went before him. So you're getting a top guy in the 4th round. So
I took Carson, but
his, huh?
I took Carson, but listen, I know the worry about Josh Jacobs. People are worried about Kenyon Drake. I'd also be worried that the Raiders dumped their entire O-line and John Gruden is a madman. We don't know what's happening there. Jacobs is very touchdown dependent. He actually scored just under 50% of his fantasy points in 4 games last year. So, the consistency is not there. But as an RB2, I think he's fine. And getting him in the 4th round is great. So Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs as a start is great. And Dalvin Cook is as sure as it gets. Then you look at his top 2 wide receivers, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. I mean, just for street cred, like I would love to have DK Metcalf and AJ Brown on my team just for watching games. Like seeing those two and their upside, their touchdown machines, their yards after the catch machines, they're uncoverable. And now that AJ Brown has Julio to draw attention away, and DK Metcalf's got Ty Lockett there, they're golden, both with very capable quarterbacks in Tannehill and Russell Wilson. So that start to me in your most important position is fantastic. Then he picked up a couple of upside guys. He went mid-round QB and tight end, which I think a lot of people are doing. We see a lot of people in this draft either waited or they went kind of with those mid rounds, like, okay, I got to get my guy now, somewhere between round 5 and 10. So Megatron got Kyle Pitts in the 6th round, which I think is where he should be taken. He was taken after TJ Hawkins and Mark Andrews, and that's fine. That's exactly where he should be taken. If he hits, he has a phenomenal tight end. And then he took Jalen Hurts in round, what was that, 7, 8, 9. Jalen Hurts in round 9. Anthony was freaking out that Jalen Hurts was taken before Aaron Rodgers. I think people are worried about, Rodgers maybe will hold out. And listen, Jalen Hurts, we've talked about it so many times on the podcast, guys. Quarterbacks who run the ball offer both tremendous upside and a safe floor. So if Jalen Hurts, he was projected to get like 1,000 yards rushing prorated over the 4 games he played, 1,000's a bit much, but I think he's going to be about 800 yards rushing. Of course, there's 17 games scheduled this year. I forget. So he'll be about 800 yards rushing. He's going to be good for 60 yards a game, kind of like where Kyler Murray was last year. So, maybe his passing wasn't the greatest last year, but that floor of those 60 yards, maybe a rush TD, I mean, there's 12 points there.
He's like a lesser Lamar Jackson.
He is. He's a poor man's.
And what did Lamar Jackson do for you last year?
I mean, he was a QB1. He was like 10th overall, right? Or 10th or 11th overall. Lamar Jackson.
We're talking redraft. And in where he's taken, there was no point. Because you could have had Stafford or Tannehill.
Well, except that Jalen Hurts. So you guys don't agree with this, but Jalen Hurts' upside is a top 5 QB.
Well, save it for next year. Let's see him do it for a full season.
That's fine.
And then next year we can talk about taking.
All right, but what? So in the ninth round, someone with a relatively safe floor that has a top 5 QB upside, you don't think that's a good pick in the 9th round?
No, I'd rather take the guy that will be in the top 5.
Who will be? Who will be that? Who came after that?
Aaron Rodgers. Tannehill could be up there, and so could Stafford.
Okay, let's remove Aaron Rodgers from the equation just in case people aren't taking him because he could hold out. Who else besides Aaron Rodgers?
Stafford, Tannehill.
Top 5?
Yeah.
They will finish top 5. So Stafford and Tannehill will finish top 5.
I think they're more likely to do it than Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely not.
Dave, we talk so much trash about their offense. Jalen Hurts running is not going to make him a top 5. He has not enough talent around him to be in the top 5.
Okay,
he is a talented individual.
Okay, guys.
He is a talented individual.
Go check the math. 800 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns with even mediocre
Lamar Jackson is a top
yards.
5 guy, and he came 10th. Like, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the talent
Lamar
around
Jackson's
him.
upside is the best player in all of fantasy football.
Right, but Jalen Hurts has nothing to confirm.
And I'm saying Jalen Hurts' upside is top 5. Not the best player in fantasy football, but top 5. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked on the Jalen Hurts argument.
A beer bet. I get a beer bet.
I'm going to beer bet.
He's not in the top 5 beer bet.
Not even.
That's his upside. That's not fair. I'm not making a beer bet on upside. Not making a beer bet on someone's upside.
Yeah, do you think he's a top 12 finish?
Yep.
No, I'll take that.
Okay. Stamp it in the sand.
Stamped in the sand.
Top 12 Jalen Hurts. Megatron,
are you on this one too, Moose?
You're with me.
No, I think he'll crack the top 12, but he'll scamper in.
Okay. Finishing out my recap of the best team, Megatron 18. Megatron, thanks for staying with me. He also got Damien Harris, Leonard Fournette. We talked about Damien Harris already. Playoff Lenny, two guys that could end up getting workload on their teams. They're fine as backups. He also got Nyheim Hines, Tevin Coleman, or Michael Carter. You can make the argument who's going to start, but they went after the Jets went and got Tevin Coleman. He's the veteran. He might start. And Nyheim Hines, who gets a ton of work in the passing game. And if Jonathan Taylor were to get hurt, would get even more. And then he rounded out with Cole Beasley, who Moose is obviously not high on, but is the reliable guy in Buffalo. He gets all the third down work. And maybe not. And Rondale Moore, who is a very talented wide receiver in Arizona. So with Kyler Murray, that's as good a late round flyer as anyone. But I really like the top end of Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs with DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. Oh, and Deontay Johnson as your third wide receiver. Forgot to mention, Deontay Dropson, as he's known, but with the crazy volume of targets he was getting, as long as he just catches some of them, he's going to be good. So Megatron, way to go. I'm loving it with the Kyle Pitts, Jalen Hurts upside. Huge. All right, guys. Let's talk about our teams and what strategies we were employing here. So last mock episode, which everyone should go check out, we were talking about running back heavy versus zero RB, and we tested those out. In this one, Moose was going with, well, I'll let Moose get into his strategy, but we're basically going late weight on QB and tight end, aka Anthony, the patient one today, and then Moose going after a premier tight end and quarterback, and I'll let him discuss that. Which one? Who wants to start?
I'll start. I don't mind.
All right, let's go, Moose.
Yeah. So my strategy, I mean, I guess it could be considered a early tight end and early quarterback, because the idea is that you're trying to get a top player at each position or the maximum amount of points at each position every week. So, the idea is you take an early running back, you take one of the top 3 elite tight ends. So Kelsey, I merged George Kittle and Travis Kelce.
What'd you say? What'd you call him?
I called him Kelsey.
You know what? Sounds like a good tight end to me. Who'd you draft at tight end? I got Kelsey.
So, you take, if you can get Kelsey, take Kelsey. If not, you get Kittle and then Waller as, your tight end right off the bat. And then came around, and a little unfortunate here. I got a high upside guy, but I'm not the most thrilled about it. I got Terry McLaurin, who, I mean, by all accounts should be fantastic with Ryan Fitzpatrick, but maybe looking back, maybe I should have, if I was going to gamble with McLaurin, maybe I should have just gambled with CeeDee Lamb, or, maybe picked it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But anyways, the idea is to get, a top wide receiver at this position. Coming back around, T. Steppen beat me to Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, but I got Kyler Murray instead. So
you would have taken Patrick Mahomes in the 4th?
Yes.
Yeah, he's usually like third or at the early 4th. But yeah. Okay, keep going.
Anyways, doesn't matter. I got Kyler Murray just as good. If you can get Josh Allen there, great. Any of those 3 guys, you're looking at fantastic. So right now in the first 4 rounds, just roughly crunching the numbers, you're roughly getting 80 points a week. And that's on the lower side of the calculation. So, I mean, that's not a bad starting point. Coming back around, a lot of the running backs have gone. And this strategy is tricky, because you have to keep in mind that you likely will need to make a trade during the season, or for a running back, or you just hope that your starting running backs don't get injured. So I went with a bit of a gamble, and I took the rookie Javonte Williams, because I think he's going to start in Denver, or he'll have, quite a big workload that'll be worth it. And then from here on out, you sort of just take the, the best running back wide receivers that you have at your disposal, kind of thing. So I was looking at my running backs, and, I wanted to see who I could get a little later on. So I went with 2 wide receivers back to back. I got Deebo Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster, who are both really good mid-round wide receivers who could also have high ceilings.
So, Moose, just to cut in there, can you explain why you took Deebo over Chase Claypool or others? I think there was Chase Claypool, Cortland Sutton on the board, Juju, but you went with Deebo. Tell our listeners why you went with Deebo.
Well, I love Deebo, and I think he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver in San Francisco. A wide receiver. I mean,
besides Kittle.
Well, yeah, he's a tight end.
Yeah.
But Deebo Samuel is going to be the number 1 wide receiver, and he's going to see points. And I know Brandon Ayuk's there as well, but they use Deebo also as a gadget player, so you're probably going to see him running the ball a little bit. So I prefer him. Chase Claypool, he's going to have competition with Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going to have competition with Deontay Johnson. Najee, he's going to have competition with Najee Harris. He's going to have competition with
Eric Ebron.
So I'm not saying Chase Claypool wouldn't have been a good pick at that spot. I think he would have been, but it's just not for me.
It's just preference at this point.
Exactly.
Like
I think Deebo's, people forget about Deebo. People are very high on Brandon Ayuk, but Deebo was a beast his first season.
He's a beast. Yeah. And, for me, in this strategy, you really gotta put your best gut forward and pick guys that you feel confident in. So I feel really confident. Deebo Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster. He was a guy who won me a championship, so you got to stick with your boys. I was hoping to get DJ Chark, but he got picked up 2 picks before me. And now coming back around. So this is where things get tricky, but I think I got pretty lucky here. I was able to pick up James Conner, who, I still have a little bit of faith in. I think he's going to be the starting running back in Arizona. And it's just the injury concern. But like I said, with this strategy, you got to be ready to trade some of your players to probably get a running back from someone else,
or waiver wire, or just be comfortable with the built-in risk.
Yeah. But like I said, James Conner, I mean, if he's healthy, he's probably going to be a starting running back. So that's not the worst. Tyler Boyd, good late round wide receiver. He'll get you some decent points as a backup. Philip Lindsay. I mean, at this point in the draft, we're in the 10th round here, and not much left. But I still think, people are picking up, backups. I mean, Philip Lindsay, he's the youngest guy in Houston, so. By all accounts, he'll be the healthiest.
He could emerge among those 20 running backs as the best one.
I'm not singing his praises, but he's going to be playing.
Yeah.
And then Michael Gallup, who I think is people often forget about him in Dallas, but he's definitely a solid pickup late in your drafts. And then the last 2 rounds, I got kind of wild here. I picked up Trevor Lawrence just as a dart throw. Maybe he's your trading piece. Maybe he has fantastic. Somebody else's quarterback gets injured or they're not panning out. Now you have a diamond trading piece.
Yeah, but I'll make a comment on it. We'll see. I'm not sure if you'll agree with me, Moose, in like normal settings, but as a trade piece, that's great. But I would say if you're drafting a QB early, I would say you don't need to take a second one.
You definitely don't.
I think with that strategy, you don't need to. But as a trade piece, yes.
You don't. But like I said, considering that, your running back situation is sparse. So you have to have a strategy. And the strategy is you're going to trade for possibly a better running back.
So do you, in general, Moose or Anthony, recommend the drafting to trade strategy? Because a lot of people argue, well, in that case, you're now reliant on others to make your season.
Well, the thing is, I'm not reliant on a trade here. I think this team will be fine without a trade.
Okay.
But why not, have a piece here that, somebody, a freak accident or something, the Dak Prescott team. Now I can maybe get Najee Harris, Trey Sermon, kind of thing. Because they'll be desperate for a quarterback. So,
there's a lot of quarterbacks on the waiver wire.
Yeah, well, this is with the assumption that Trevor Lawrence is going to come out and be absolutely fantastic.
Right. Okay.
So on and so forth.
All right, cool.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to pick up a couple extra wide receivers as high as you can because they're good. They're good trading pieces as well. And then Alan Lazard as my flyer. Why not?
Alan Lazard. I mean, hey, if Rodgers is back, Alan Lazard's always a flyer, and I love it. And he was good when he played, but he got
and then he destroyed his abdomen. And,
all right. We're not going to talk about my team because I was just wild carding it, and I'm not even happy with.
And it was wild.
Team. It was wild, and you know what it's like when doing these mock drafts? It's like when you're trying to decide what to order at the restaurant, and you really take time on it. You really pay attention to it, and you're psyched about it. And then everyone else's meals come, and you're like, why didn't I order that one? So I'm like looking at Megatron's team and other people's like, I should have ordered that team. But anyways,
you're not wrong. Cause I usually plan to trade my salad to someone else.
Yeah. Okay. Anthony, talk to us. Tell us about the philosophy in general of late QB, late tight end, why that's a popular strategy. Tight end, Kelsey, and then talk about your team, which is pretty awesome.
So, the idea behind drafting those guys late, like we mentioned previously, tight end specifically is very top heavy. So you have the top tier guys, which Moose mentioned was Kelsey, Kittle, and Waller. Then you kind of get Andrews, Hawkinson, and Pitts if you want to throw them in the tier 2. But Pitts should really be grouped in with all the rest: the Logan Thomas, the Dallas Goedert, Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki. So basically the idea is there's basically a huge pool of guys that will finish within the same realm. So if you do wait on tight end, you can really wait on tight end because all the guys are going to be within the same range. Kind of the same. You can look at,
a low range.
A low range.
A
low range. Like Moose said, you want to command the position. So getting those guys, you're not going to command the position. You might get lucky with one. There's usually one or two that stand out. But yeah, you'll have to be lucky there. And for QB, it's the same thing. I would say that even towards the top, that the difference between final or total fantasy points at the end of the year is very similar. So a guy that I took as my QB in the 10th round, Matthew Stafford, who we mentioned before that we would take over Jalen Hurts. Also, Tannehill was available.
You would take.
I would take him,
and
Moose would as well, and probably the rest of the planet.
You're wrong on that. There's a lot of Jalen Hurts love.
Well, I mean, there's always got to be
not if you want to win your fantasy.
There's always going to be a last place guy.
Yeah. So I went with Matthew Stafford because last year he finished 15th on a terrible team. He didn't have his number one receiver. We've seen him be in the top 10 previously in Detroit on teams that have won 2 games in a season. So, he's 20 points outside the top 12. Playing with a extremely stacked team on LA. He's easily going to be a top 12 guy. So that's why I felt it was a great place to grab him. Robert Tonyan was taken right after. I took him with the thought process that Aaron Rodgers will play. Aaron Rodgers is annoyed with his receiving core, but seems to trust Robert Tonyan, who in Sleeper, if you play on Sleeper, is listed as wide receiver and tight end. So there's that added bonus.
And I think as general advice to everybody mock drafting, mock draft as if Aaron Rodgers is playing. And if and when the news breaks that he's not playing, adjust accordingly. But don't make your whole plan around Aaron Rodgers not being there.
Yes.
Right.
And I would argue that Tonyan would probably be okay with Jordan Love as well. I think Jordan, dumping off to a tight end is always in the cards for rookie QBs. So he was 3rd overall last year in half PPR, but he's being drafted way later because he was touchdown dependent. But
yeah, but yeah, I always said there's a tight end that stands out for a year, and then we never know what will happen. But at this point, I'm going to trust it. Aaron Rodgers is still, if he plays, he's still fantastic. So I'm really happy getting those 2 guys there at the 10 and 11th round. So just to show you what the advantages of waiting. So Moose said that he really liked my team. Dave said so pre-podcast as well. So I went with, I was 2nd pick overall. I went with Derrick Henry and Dobbins to start. Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen in round 3 and 4. Travis Etienne and Chase Edmonds in 5 and 6.
See, Anthony says Etienne. So so all 3 of us can say it differently.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. I hear it.
Then Cortland Sutton as my flex or 3rd receiver option, and Curtis Samuel as my 4th. My 5th running back, Jamal Williams, I think is a fantastic value pick in the 9th round because we don't know who's going to be the guy over there. There's been praise coming out of camp about his talent, and I think things are sketchy with DeAndre Swift, or maybe he could be splitting more time than we think with Jamal Williams. So I think with the upside, he's my 5th running back. I have nothing to lose getting him there.
You're pretty stacked at running back, that's for sure.
My 2nd to last pick, Henry Ruggs, Roman numeral 3. I mean, he's supposed to be the number 1 receiver there. Hopefully he gets to that point. That would be a great value pick as well. And then, late round flyer, I could have taken anyone here. I took Wayne Gallman just because, you want to get as many running backs as you can. And knowing the history with the San Francisco 49ers, they have a lot of injuries at running back. So to me, at some point, he'll be effective for a couple games and, maybe a good.
What about Trey Sermon?
Trey Sermon was taken.
Right.
Yeah,
but you're not okay.
Trey Sermon was taken in the 8th round.
Sorry, my point was you're not worried that Trey Sermon would be the replacement.
I mean, it's his last pick.
Later on, I'm higher on Trey Sermon than I was at the beginning. I think Trey Sermon will take over like later on in the season. Wayne Gallman will be the second option, maybe, to start. But late round flyer, I mean, you can easily drop this guy and pick up anyone else off the waiver wire immediately or after week 1 when you see the performances. But so I'm pretty stacked at receiver and running back, which is why if you're paying attention enough in the draft and you do your homework before your draft, due diligence, you can see that guys like Stafford and Tannehill are going super late. Even if you're super high on Trevor Lawrence, he went the second last round. He went the 12th round. Matt Ryan, I mean, we're saying don't draft him, but you get guys like Tannehill and Stafford from the 10th round on, like, you're really happy. You don't have to worry about the QB position.
But watch your draft. Don't just willy-nilly
exactly.
go, oh, I'm gonna take a QB in the 10th. Watch. If quarterbacks start going off the board, get your quarterback, because you don't want to be stuck with, worse. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Anthony was able to get a value quarterback late.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get stuck with something worse.
Exactly. Know your league, which is what we always say, right? So we play in a league where quarterback's pretty popular. So sometimes they go a little bit earlier. Yeah. And, I think, you can wait as long as you did, Anthony. You could even go a little bit earlier. So you drafted your QB and tight end in round 10 and 11. But I think, like, if we think back to Josh Allen, who was drafted in like the 8th round last year, ended up the QB1 overall. Lamar Jackson, his breakout year, was drafted late, ended up the QB1 overall. Kyler Murray last year was drafted late. He was like number 2, number 3. Justin Herbert could be one of those guys this year. Lamar Jackson's going late. There's places to be had at QB. You don't have to go early.
Right. And to talk about a little bit of what Moose was saying. So, know your draft. Look how people are drafting. For example, when I took in the 10th round, I knew I was going to take QB and tight end with my 10th and 11th pick. So what you need to do is, the guy who was drafting first overall, Sanchi, he didn't draft a tight end until the 10th round. So right after I took Stafford, he took a tight end. If you in your mind, and he took Mike Gesicki with his pick. If you in your mind, if you were drafting my position and you're like, oh, I'm going to take my QB here and draft Gesicki in the 11th round, you would have missed your opportunity there. You need to look at the team. He needs a tight end. He's going to try and get the best one off the board. So for him,
so he had already, what you had said was he had already drafted a QB.
Exactly.
So he's going to go
safe. Tight end. Yeah.
Stafford will come back to you. And it's really easy when you're that close, when you're bookended near the end of the round to do that. Yeah.
So in this case, if you wanted Gesicki, you would switch how I drafted. So instead of Stafford Tunyon, you would have went Gesicki and then taken Stafford in the next round. Because he drafted Wilson in the 6th, he's probably not going to take another QB, needs a tight end, so he's going to take the best one off the board. So
boom. What do you think about always pay attention? What do you think about Eeps, who waited on QB and then took 2 in a row, Tannehill, Fields, in the late rounds, 11 and 12?
Eric Paul, Stuart Tyler.
Eric Paul, Stuart Tyler.
If he took any other QB, like besides Tannehill, I think because he drafted Tannehill, he doesn't need to take a second guy. But if he drafted, let's say Tom Brady went there, I would say, because when is the old age going to hit him? You don't know. Draft the backup guy. If you drafted Trevor Lawrence there, take Fields too. Like, one of them should hit, or you go young and then you draft a guy like Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins where you're going to get stability. So maybe I think taking Tannehill you should have just kept one.
Yeah, maybe he picked one of those quarterbacks to trade to the Jalen Hurts team for a running back.
Oh man, I can't wait for the season to start. All right, guys.
Wait, hold on. No, I did have important things to say.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say when we were talking about Miami and Tua, because before the podcast or during the draft, we were talking about Will Fuller, because I thought we were going to discuss your team, Dave. And we were talking about Will Fuller. And key thing to remember that's even worse about the first 3 games of the season, Tua's not going to have Will Fuller. He's suspended for 3 games.
I think he only has 1 more game on his suspension.
He has 3 more games on his suspension.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, we looked it up a few episodes ago.
Okay.
So
because it was an 8-game suspension and he missed 5. That actually sounds right.
Yeah, so that's also, if you're going to draft Will Fuller, also note that he will be out for the 3 first games, and then probably pull his hamstring.
He's a wide receiver 4 on the year when he got suspended. But I know.
Well, but he was
Deshaun
enhanced. He was enhanced.
He didn't take like superhero potion. Like he wasn't enhanced. Like what recent show we were talking about enhanced? We're dealing with enhanced. What was that?
I don't know.
It was a recent show.
But fact of the matter is he was enhanced. And he was enhanced so much that they suspended him for it. So
hold on. He's suspended for 6 games total.
No, he will miss the first game.
Thank you. He'll only miss the first game, Anthony?
Yeah.
That's why we vetted.
He will miss the first game with the team as he finishes out his 6-game suspension due to violating the NFL's performance in one game.
Only one game out of and there's a 17 game season. Everyone's going to miss one game next year. All right, but good points. Good points brought up. Guys, that was super fun. Thanks again to everyone who participated and for all our listeners. But big shout out to Big Lou, Megatron, and Synchro DFS who won our awards for Fav Teams today. And please go check it out and get on there do some mocks with us. We're going to be doing some more mocks in the future. Maybe not breaking them down on the podcast, but doing some mocks.
Well, we're going to break them down on Instagram. On
Twitter, the whole shebang. Guys, as you know, I'm trying to be super healthy during the week. It's starting to work.
A little early.
Yeah, so I'm on water. I'm a little early.
You're also a whole segment early.
Oh, man. All right. Anthony, hit us. We got to go quick then, guys. We're running. Let's go.
Yeah.
So time for They Said It on Reddit.
Well, you rushed it. It was no passion. There was no passion. You rushed it.
All right.
So this one coming from.
Hold on. Just wait a minute here, Dave. Yeah. You got 3 more extra hours than us. Anthony and I aren't complaining.
Complaining? What complaining?
About the time.
You got to hustle us. You're hustling us along.
It's nothing to do with my bedtime. It has to do with the podcast. Been running pretty long.
That's okay.
People don't want to listen. People don't have 2 hours. Let's go. All right, Anthony, hit us.
Okay. This one comes from user RyGuy777-0.
Yeah.
Zero RB strategy. Do any of you go with zero RB strategy when doing your drafts? Who are some of your favorite late round targets if you are using this strategy? I can't get enough of Mike Davis this year. Think he is going to have a great season in Atlanta.
Well, I recommend that Rye Guy and all our listeners go check out our previous episode of the podcast where we tested zero RB versus running back heavy. I am uncomfortable with zero RB. Can it be pulled off? It can. Oh, you guys talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Okay. Yeah, I think Moose and I agree that we don't usually go zero RB strategy. Like Dave said, we said it. We gave an example last episode. But if I was to give you, if you do want to go that strategy, if you want some late round RB guys, I would say you got guys like Jamal Williams, who I drafted on my team. You got guys like AJ Dillon, who Moose is being high on. Michael Carter, who we said is a starter. Yes, it's the Jets, but he's a starter. You know, he's going to get touches. Moose, do you have any late round guys that stand out to you?
I was going to say zero RB equals 0 championships. Value does not win you weeks. Points win you weeks. So go get the guys who are going to get you points.
Right.
Don't gamble on value.
Yeah. Some other guys, because Mike Davis is in our draft went round 5. So if he's looking to grab a running back around that time, you do have Javonte Williams, who's Moose said, and according to the news, might or will be the guy. You got guys like Travis Etienne, Myles Gaskin. You know, maybe you'll get a Miles Sanders around there. But again, you want the top guys at the running back position.
Chase Edmonds is good. Zach Moss going late, and
he burned me last year. I need to see a year of good performance.
I know, but I think he's better than Devin Singletary, and I think Josh Allen would be wise to rush less. So, I wanted to point out Big Lou was messaging me after last episode about zero RB, and he did pull it off, or a pseudo zero RB. It's not a true zero RB, but in 2016, back in the day, he went with, and this is maybe what some people can consider instead of zero RB, is draft a stud running back with that first pick, or second, but probably first pick, and then kind of go 0 RB, and then stack your wide receivers in your other positions, and then come in and get some other tight ends. So we see people do that with more success. So in that year, he was able to pull it off. I can go through his whole roster. It was 2016. Back in, he got Todd Gurley, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, T.Y. Hilton, Brandon Cooks, Delaney Walker, Giovanni Bernard, Eli Manning. And then he rounded it up with some other RBs like Tevin Coleman, Jordan Howard. Back in the day, and then I think Christine Michael, things like this. So he worked it out.
And he won that season?
He won his league?
He won.
But I don't think that's 0 RB. That's 1 RB. I would call it a 1 RB strategy.
Yeah, because he still had a top guy to like. Sometimes you get a top RB, they play as well as 2 running backs. So
yeah, if you get the stud, I mean, it doesn't count if you get the stud, but that's something to consider. He was a part of the awakening of Christine Michael.
Yeah.
What's the joke there?
Big Lou will get that. That was the whole thing with Christine Michael. It was called The Awakening.
All right.
He'll get it.
Can I talk about my water? I'm having water because I'm being healthy, and it's working, is what I was going to say. What do you guys have?
Should I do this like super fast? I've got a Heineken. I really enjoyed it.
That was great.
Wow, that was pretty good.
That sounded like a sped up radio.
But I like to irritate Dave, so I'm going to show my drinks really
slow. Take your time. We're at the end.
What is it from True Lies? Doucement.
Do it.
Doucement. Do it slowly.
So I have a gin and tonic, which I've plowed.
Oh, you're doing a gin soda.
Oh, ha ha ha! Get it?
Hilarious. I get it because Michelob Ultra Light, which is what the beer Anthony's drinking, is basically.
Look at that little grin he has on his face. So
well
funny.
Well played. Sir.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe a food that could be paired well with beer. I'm really high on this food now. Enchiladas. Those things are dope as beep, 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 beep. Like, they're really good. You could put, like, I've been using pork, beef, chicken, put whatever you want inside. It's kind of like you get a glass Corningware or whatever you want to call it, glass. What do you call them?
Like, just call it an oven dish.
I've never heard of Corningware.
An oven dish.
You've never heard of Corningware.
You've never heard of Corningware.
What's a Corningware?
It's like a ceramic dish.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could go in the oven. So they're kind of like open-ended fajitas. You line them up in your dish, your oven dish. Then you top it off. Depending on what types of meat you use, it could just be cheese on top. It could be a salsa on top. It could be
homemade enchilada.
More of like an oil type sauce instead of like a tomato, like salsa-ish type sauce. So you can pretty much do whatever you want with this. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I've been eating them so much. Probably not the healthiest thing, but they're
I wish I could have enchiladas.
It's like a fajita lasagna.
I could enchiladas.
I could.
You just have to find some kind of like almond flour burrito wrap. Actually, they have them. They have those vegetable wraps.
Sounds terrible.
Almond flour.
Almond flour.
They're
wrap?
good. You wouldn't even know that they weren't normal burrito. It's they're the ones made of red peppers. They're like a pinkish orange.
Okay.
They have green ones.
Like the green ones. Yeah.
I could do it.
But Moose, you had we were talking pre-podcast, you had a great strategy for the people like myself who have a problem rolling or folding their fajitas or their wraps.
Okay, but originally I thought we were talking about quesadillas.
But still, it's great news.
I'm not doing a cooking show here.
Enchiladas with quesadillas.
But I mean, you had a good strat for those people that do those dishes. It was very informative for me.
I never told you. I said I'd show you guys. I never showed you anything.
Oh, but you were talking about temperature. You got to first get the temperature going.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. If you're folding up a burrito or a quesadilla or something like that, I mean, it says it on the package, Anthony. You just got to read.
What package? It's all homemade stuff here. I don't buy packaged.
You make your own. You make your own burrito wraps.
Oh, on the burrito wrap pack, they say how to do it.
Yeah, they say you take.
I don't read my bread packs.
And ridiculous. Yeah, you just take a moist paper towel, you pop them in the microwave, and it makes them more foldable. They don't rip.
Because for other dishes, they just tell you to like put it on like aluminum foil, put it in the oven for a little bit on broil, and then like you're good to go with your wrap. So I mean, like those are coming out of like straight up recipes.
You can do that too. You can put a little bit of oil in a pan and do it like that as well.
Okay.
So, I think we got a whole other podcast shaping up here, guys.
My goodness.
Yeah.
This guy's giving out advice. Doesn't even read his burrito packages.
I was asking you for the advice.
Not reading the burrito package is like going 0 RB. You just whatever happens.
Oh, that is not even
whatever
close.
happens, your burrito wrap's gonna rip. Everything's gonna fall out the sides. It's gonna suck.
Right. Oh goodness gracious.
Well, whether you read your burrito packages or not, we hope your burritos are spicy, your enchiladas are delicious, your quesadillas cheesy, and your draft strategies successful. As always, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.